Hi guys, it's David here from Right On Resources, and today we're going to be talking about what is the best qualification for you to go with. So we're going to be talking largely about English. It does kind of apply with maths as well, but that's going to be my main focus today. So what we're going to be looking at is, should you go for functional skills or GCSE English? So what this video aims to address is, what is the difference and what is the right choice for you? This is something that's extremely important, and if you are going to go off and study English at university or at college, then you do need to be aware of the differences between these two. Before you choose which qualifications to take, you need to consider some of the following questions. So the first one I'd like you to think about is, what is your overall goal? So it may be that you've been out of education for a while. It might be that you're looking to actually get more involved in education, take that step to further education. So if that is the case, then you will want to be looking at the actual GCSE. The GCSE will help you to progress in further education. It is what a lot of employment options ask for. It's also what they'd be expecting from you if you're going to go to university. So if your overall goal is to go into higher education or to get a better paid job or secure your future in your job, then it might be best to go for the GCSE. A lot of businesses these days are requesting that you have both GCSE Maths and English. That being said, you need to be aware of your strengths and your weaknesses. Now, if you are an adult learner and you've been out of education for a number of years, then you have to accept that you might not be as good as you once were at both Maths and English. If you go to a college, you will be assessed initially on your strengths and weaknesses in these areas. With English, it comes down to either reading or writing. Now, generally, you're going to get assessed on the writing one, but you also might be asked to do a BKSB. Now, what a BKSB is an online assessment where they test your ability to read information and pick out key bits of information. If you have been out of education for a while, it is a good idea to do the functional skills qualification, because that helps to build up your skills so that you're ready for the GCSEs. There's nothing worse than demanding to go and do the GCSE and you go there and you're in over your head. So if it's been a while, be honest, tell the person that you're enrolling with, and they will help you get you assessed and talk about your options going forward. Having an understanding of your own strengths and weaknesses is going to be really important to being successful in both functional skills and in the GCSE course. So what previous qualifications do you have? So this is going to be something that is asked of you when you actually come to enroll at a college or in higher education. So you need to make sure that you arrive with those qualifications there. If you studied English, either GCSE or functional skills, it is important that you bring any certificates with you on the day. I will say, however, that the functional skills has recently changed, so it's actually got a bit harder. So you may have got a qualification in functional skills a few years ago, let's say in 2018, but that has now been changed. So a lot of people might not class that as the same qualification as it is today. If you have any other academic qualifications, those are important to note as well. If you went to university, it shows that you would have been able to write at quite a high academic level, and that is going to help you to progress onto your course, either being it with functional skills or the GCSE English qualification. And then the final thing, how much time do you have? How much time can you really commit to this? The GCSE course runs over 1 year. Generally, it can be one evening a week if you're working full time. If you're on a full time course, then you can do it throughout your normal working timetable. If you're an adult learner, however, this will be something that you'll have to do of an evening. Typically, it'll be 2 to 3 hours of an evening. So if you have work commitments, if you have a family, you need to think about, can you really manage this? With that in mind, the functional skills one can stretch considerably longer. You have different levels, so you have both level 1 functional skills and level 2. These can be anywhere up for a year, up to 2 years if you do both of these qualifications, and you'll have multiple opportunities to sit the exams for functional skills. With the GCSE English, it's going to be a little bit harder, and it is going to be harder to actually get those exam dates as well. So have a real good think about those options before you actually go and request a certain course that you want to be on. Okay, so what is functional skills English? Well, the functional skills qualification can be broken down into the following three components. So there's a reading element, a writing element, and a speaking and listening element. Traditionally, these are taught throughout the whole academic year. However, the first one that they normally look at is the reading component. With that, you'll be faced with an article or a newspaper, and you'll be asked to read it, show that you can understand it, and often have to select some quotations from it to prove your understanding. The writing element is something that people often struggle with quite a bit. If your English is a second language, then this is something that I highly recommend you practice a lot. It will test your ability to write coherently and confidently, and it will also test your ability to use spelling and grammar and punctuation effectively. The speaking and listening assessment, this is something where you'll have to engage in a discussion as well as an individual presentation. Now this is something that's also done along with the GCSE, so it's really good to get some practice. This is just testing your ability to be able to communicate clearly and effectively, but also to listen and to take on board people's comments. With your functional skills course, you might be asked to do a presentation or just a group discussion, depending on the level that you're going on. If you would like further help with either the reading, writing or speaking and listening component, then additional videos will be provided shortly after this one. So now we're going to move on. We're going to have a look at the GCSE English language qualification. Now this qualification will build on some of the skills that you would have developed while studying the functional skills course. The English GCSE course can be broken down into the three following elements. So you have paper 1, explorations in creative reading and writing, paper 2, writers' viewpoints and perspectives, and the final one, speaking and listening assessment, where you'll be asked to deliver a short presentation on a chosen topic. Many people worry about this one, but it's really nothing to get too anxious about. The presentations normally only last anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes long. They're fairly informal. You will have to do it in front of a few other people within your class. It's really nothing to get too worked up about. One of the commonly asked questions is the speaking and listening that you do for functional skills the same for GCSE? The simple answer for that is no. However, that being said, some of the elements of the speaking and listening for functional skills are similar to that of GCSE. The only thing that will change really is that you'll be asked to be marked on a certain criteria that is going to get you ready for more advanced level study and also some employability skills. So it's going to be quite similar, but it is going to be a little bit more in depth and it is going to be a little bit harder than the functional skills qualification. So the GCSE course can be broken down into three main sections. We're going to have a look first of all at paper 1. So explorations in creative reading and writing. Now this is often the one that is a little bit more straightforward. The reason why is because it will test your skills in both reading and writing, very similar to the things you would have done on the functional skills exam, and it will also focus generally on quite modern texts. When we say text, we mean modern prose, so literature that you may have looked at or read in your own time as well. The paper will have two sections, a reading section and a writing section. Now in the reading section you'll have a total of 4 questions. Those questions are going to test your ability to read, comprehend, select and also synthesize information. Some of the questions are quite easy and quite straightforward. Others are going to ask you to make an evaluation and to really have quite a critical look at how the piece of text has been put together and the language and structural techniques that have been used. Section B, the writing, will have an image, what we call a stimulus. You can see that on the left hand side, so it might be something quite similar to that. Now with that image, they're going to ask you to write a piece of creative writing or the beginning of a story based on that. Now a lot of people struggle with this, and to be honest it is a difficult one to do. If you do want some additional support, please make sure that you like and subscribe, because we're going to be having a look at how to crack this important question in another video. So now we're moving on to paper 2. So paper 2 is called Writers' Viewpoints and Perspectives. This one can be a little bit more challenging than paper 1, only because some of the text that you will read might be a little bit older. So they're normally a text from the 20th or 21st century, but also from the 19th century. So some of these texts can be a little bit dated. This paper will test your skills on reading and writing of non-fiction. So when we say non-fiction, we mean the things they're writing about are real events that have happened, and you will be asked to select and synthesize information, very similar to paper 1. You'll also be asked to summarize. That can be quite a difficult thing for a lot of people, and again, if you do want additional support on that, please have a look at our videos that come later. Very similar to paper 1, the paper will have 2 sections. Section A being reading. You'll be given 2 texts to read. You'll be asked to pick out key bits of information, make comparisons, and also write a summary for the text as well. Section B, writing. Now this will be very similar to the kind of thing that you would have done on the functional skills level 1, but definitely on functional skills level 2 exam. You'll be given a topic to write about. That topic will be very similar to the topic that you're doing in section A, and you'll be asked to write using a range of different language techniques and different sentence forms to get your point across. So now we're coming to the end of the video, and I'm going to give you my final verdict on both of these qualifications and how they can help you to develop your English skills. So if we look at the functional skills overall, it can help to develop your basic reading, writing and speaking skills. So maybe you're looking to do this to just get out of the house, maybe you just want to improve and better yourself, and that's fantastic, and this will definitely be the one for you. It will help to develop your reading, writing and speaking skills that will also lead on to your GCSEs. If you've been out of education for a while, I think the best thing to do is to have a go at the functional skills qualification. The biggest thing for me is when it affects someone's confidence, and the functional skills will help develop and improve your confidence as you go on your journey in education. It is ideal for anyone who can speak English but wants to develop these skills further. So for example, you might have been a previous ESOL student, you might now have a really good grasp of the English language, but you might struggle a little bit at looking at prose and looking at some of the harder texts and things like that. It will help increase your chances of employability. So many employers these days will ask for at least level 2 functional skills, if not GCSE, but getting on the functional skills course is a great way just to make yourself that much more employable. It will help build and develop your confidence in English. So as I said before, it's building up all those main core skills that you really need, not just academically but also in life, and it will also put you in a great position to go on and study GCSE English afterwards. So if we go over to the GCSE then, it helps to develop your academic skills considerably. So this is really important if you're thinking to go to university. If you're applying for university, you'll notice that most places will ask for English and maths at a grade 4. That is because even if it is not a maths or English centered subject you're going to do at university, those are still the kind of skills that you will need when it comes to things like academic writing. Okay, if you don't have those, it's going to make it a lot harder for you to actually progress on your given course. Doing the GCSE in English is ideal for a recent school leaver or someone planning to go to university in the near future. If you're a recent school leaver, then you're already going to be in that mindset. You're already going to have a good understanding of what you need to do for the English exam. One thing that's different from a lot of people if they're doing this straight out of secondary school is that it's only half the qualification a lot of them would have been doing in secondary school. So in secondary school you would have been doing English language and English literature and possibly would have got 2 grades for that as well. In this case we're only looking at English language, which will in fact make it a bit easier for you. The reason why we're focused on that is because in terms of academics, this is the qualification that you're going to need. This is the one that generally holds more weight. The GCSE course requires at least a year of studying, with exams normally taking place in June. Obviously, because we've had COVID, there's been a little bit of disruption from this, and that has led to things like teacher assessed grades and things like that. If you do fail this exam, you may be able to do what we call a November resit, but that will be down to the centre that you're doing that training with. Generally speaking, the exams take place in June. You'll have 2 separate dates for that, one for paper 1 and another one separate day for paper 2. So the GCSE in English is often the most common English qualification asked for employers. I cannot stress how important this qualification is. A lot of people within their actual employment are required to undertake things like GCSE maths and English because it does help you not just academically but also with your verbal communication as well. Additional support or help will always be available via this channel. If you are struggling with any aspects of English, please make sure you give us a comment below and we'll try to make a lesson catered towards your needs. Please try and like and subscribe to be kept up to date with the latest videos and lessons, and I'll try to update them at least once a week. Again, if you have any issues, please feel free to drop us a message. It always helps us out to plan and create those resources to better help your needs. All the best. Bye.